You have someone focused upon what you want with no downside to it, no contradiction to it. Do you know that one who is connected to this stream of well-being is more powerful than millions who are not? We cannot even find good analogies to help you to feel the difference between the power of a non-resisted thought and the weakness of a resisted thought. So you have on your side, on your team, source energy who is focused upon what you are asking for in a non-resisted way, which means heaven and earth are moving. Excuse the analogies because it just isn't really like that. But all things are moving on your behalf. All cooperative components are being gathered and assembled because your inner being is focused upon what you are asking for. The question is, are you a cooperative component? The answer is usually not right away. In other words, you could be a cooperative component, and when you feel frisky and eager and excited about it, you are. But if you're doubtful and worried, if you're still coming from that place of defending why you want something by pointing out how bad it is not to have it, then you're not a cooperative component. But that doesn't stop the resourcefulness of the law of attraction and your source energy from gathering the cooperative components. And so you're doing step one and source is doing step two. When you ask, it is given. There is a vibrational gathering of all things necessary for the coming about of what you're asking for. In other words, your thoughts have already begun to turn to things. Step one, step two, you ask, it is given. But you cannot yet see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it because it hasn't yet turned to things. It's a vibrational beginning. It's like the fetus in the womb. It is in the place of becoming. You have not yet fully given birth to it. But as humans, you don't want to be happy about it until you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. And that's what trips you up because you keep looking for something that you want, and in its absence, instead of seeing what you want, you see the absence of it, and then you hold yourself without it because you get what you're focused upon, and you're focused upon the absence of what you want. You get how that goes? Now, if your inner being were also focused upon the absence of what you want, you'd feel no negative emotion because there would be no discordant vibration between you and you. But because your inner being is always focused upon what you want, when you focus in opposition, you sort of put a tug of war. You tear yourself apart a bit. That's a good way of saying it. When you came into this physical body, you knew you would always be in the state of becoming. So you didn't plan on it being the jerky experience that it sometimes is for you. You didn't plan on wanting it, withholding yourself from it, worrying about it, not letting it in, and then in a weak moment of forgetting what you're doing, focusing and letting it in, and then surprise, there it is for a minute. You didn't want the roller coaster ride that so many of you are having. You knew that when you came into this physical body, you had the capability of focusing in the direction of what you want at all times as you're witnessing it in its various phases becoming. You knew that you would never get it done and that you couldn't get it wrong. And you knew that the reason you couldn't get it wrong is because you can't get it done. And you knew that anytime you're standing in the absence of something that you want, that it would catapult you into the vibrational existence of it. And that all you would have to do is focus in anticipation of it becoming and that it would be. As humans, you've sort of trained yourself to emotionally respond to what you see. And that is the biggest thing that holds you in a place of unhappiness and of deprivation of who you really are and what you want, of all other things put together. It's that most of your vibrational offering comes from what you're observing, and what you're observing is old news. What you're observing is what you've allowed to turn to things, but there's a whole vibrational reality. We call that your vortex. There's this whole vibrational reality that is full of all of the things that you have become already in a vibrational sense, that you've just got to let into your physical experience, because once you've given birth to it, you have to let it be your experience. You can't keep asking for things and holding yourself apart from it and feel good. So the joy of life experience is to give birth and then to witness the steady, never-ending unfolding of the more coming into vibrational reality. We want you to get so good so accustomed to knowing that there's more that's coming into being, that you are satisfied with the part that you're witnessing coming into being right now. Step 5 is being so good at step 4. That now when you're back in a contrasting moment where you're clearly knowing what you don't want, because it never ends, life's just going to keep moving forward for you. But you're not feeling negative emotion in the contrast. You're understanding that the contrast is necessary for the expansion of the whole. So you don't take it personally. You don't beat up on yourself about it or anybody else. You don't look at it as some terrible thing that is threatening you, because you know it doesn't threaten you. It gives birth to the more, you see. So here you are in your physical bodies. Magnificent physical bodies. Right as you intended to be. Exploring life, giving birth to more. And now wanting to calibrate yourself into vibrational accord with what you're asking for. Sometimes, we know, you come to a gathering like this and you see a woman who seems pretty sure of what she's saying. She certainly likes the sound of it. And she's forceful and strong, and you might think, well, here's another person with a strong opinion, and maybe there's something of value for me. Maybe I'll take a piece of it, maybe I'll apply it, and maybe my life will improve as a result of it. And that's all fine. That's what is happening all over your world. You're witnessing one another and learning from each other and experiencing benefit from one another. And we like all of that. But there's another thing that we like that can happen for you here, and that is when we offer a suggestion to you, when we explain to you the laws of the universe, and we explain to you that there's an inner being you and there is a physical you, and that when there is harmony between the two, you feel wonderful. And when we explain to you that you are a vibrational being, and that when you have resistance because of what you're thinking about, your vibration is more sluggish because you've introduced resistance to it. And a sluggish vibration does not allow you full alignment with who you really are. And when we explain to you that full alignment with who you really are not only produces clarity and sure-footedness, but it is also a refreshment that is really what life is all about. In other words, you're here refueling and refreshing with this replenishing energy of source. So then we offer to you a process like meditation. We say to you, if you can find a time every day to quiet your mind for 15 or 20 minutes, and by quiet your mind, we just mean no longer think the normal thoughts you think. And by no longer thinking the normal thoughts you think, we mean really quieting your mind so that you're not thinking any thoughts, because it's easier to think no thoughts than to try to think pure positive thoughts when you've been thinking something other than pure positive thoughts. It's easier to think no thought. So then we say, just listen to something that is boring, like maybe the sound of the air conditioner. Can you hear air in this room? Ooh, hear that little whistle? Find something in that sound and focus on it. And when you do, if you really will, sometimes Esther sits to focus. If there's no sound in her house, she has an app that actually says central air. As you focus, sometimes your mind will wander. Sometimes it will take Esther 5 minutes to stop thinking about whatever the momentum of her thoughts are and to focus upon the air conditioner. Air conditioner is a good tool for Esther because she doesn't have any judgment about it. She doesn't think, I've heard better. So your mind quiets, and when you stop thinking thoughts, you stop negative thought. And when you stop negative thought, you stop resistance. And when there's no resistance in this moment of your being and you are awake, your vibration rises. And when your vibration rises, you calibrate. You allow the natural calibration. You allow yourself to be a cooperative component to the frequency of your source, who, as it is gathering cooperative components, gathers you because you are non-resistant. You see, the law of attraction cannot ever gather a non-cooperative component. Law of attraction doesn't allow that. That's why we say cooperative components are being gathered. When you are meditating and your mind is quiet, you become a cooperative component to your own high frequency. You see how it works? So you allow yourself that rising of vibration. And as you do that, after a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day, what happens is you'll reach this state of non-resistant, where now the thoughts that your inner being is thinking about the important things in your life can be received by you. You'll find yourself actually thinking the thoughts that your inner being is thinking about the things that matter to you. Sometimes you'll have an epiphany. Sometimes it's just a thought of something that feels fun to do. Esther will have a thought like, I think I'll move the furniture around again. And it sounds silly, but it's a thought that feels good to her. And we have a few stories. We won't tell all of them to you here today, where that thought led to something, led to something, led to something, led to something. And after the fact, Esther understood how she was receiving from her inner being thoughts that were the path of least resistance. In other words, your inner being knows where you are in relationship to everything you want. And so as you find this new non-resistant place or state of being, your inner being will actually think a thought that will be easier for you to think. Easy for you to think. And as you think that thought, it will lead to that thought, which will lead to that thought, which will lead to that thought, which will lead to that thought. And before you know it, you're witnessing thoughts turning to things in your experience. So the point that we were making with all of that is, so now it's not just like someone who seems pretty sure about what she's talking about standing on the stage. Now you have first-hand experience where you've quieted your mind, you've achieved vibrational connection or calibration with your own inner being, you have felt the impulse about something, you've followed through with it, and now you understand how it all works. It's not just a theory that someone has, it's something that you have experienced and practiced, and once you've experienced it with one thing, you can do it with all things. We so much want you to understand that life has caused you to ask for so many things that you have enough in your vibrational reality to keep you living happily ever after for 20 or 30 lifetimes. And that when you reach this place of letting your resistance dissipate and letting your calibration or alignment to who you really are be a more dominant part of your experience, those who are watching you will begin noticing more of the things that they've heard you talking about that you desire flowing into your experience. They will notice an uptake in the way you feel. Your mood will be elevated. You will be turned in, turned on. You will be happy and alive about life. You'll be eager about things. Your timing will be really good. You'll find yourself feeling an impulse to leave your house at just the right time to accommodate whatever's happening in traffic. You'll find yourself rendezvousing with people, some people you know and some people you don't even know, and you'll have the impulse to say something just at the right time that will be meaningful to them or to you or to both of you at the same time. In other words, you will be tuned into the knowledge and understanding that your inner being has about where you are in relationship to all things you want. And this is what we really want you to hear. You will be witnessing the deliberate creation of your own life experience, and nothing less than that will ever be satisfying to you. You didn't come into these bodies to live somebody else's idea of who you should be. You are a creator, and you are the creator of your own reality. And you've come with others to bounce off one another, but to come to your own conclusions of what you want. And it is our powerful desire that you begin the living happily ever after right here, right now. Deprivation will never take you to anything that you want. There is no virtue in sacrifice. There is no virtue in putting yourself in a position of awkward behavior. You are powerful creators.